What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Let's Talk F1 2015, this for the British Grand Prix. This is part of a year-long series where I basically analyse the aerodynamic upgrades of every single F1 car that's on the grids ahead of Saturday and Sunday when there are upgrades in FP1 and FP2. That's usually what happens, but today actually is a bit of a different one because I'm actually going to the British Grand Prix for all 3 days, so I won't be able to make this video on Friday because I'm actually driving up from London to Northampton, staying in Northampton, so I won't be home to record this video. So what I'm doing is, it's Saturday right now as I record this, not Saturday, it's Thursday right now as I record this. So tomorrow I'm heading up to Northampton to go see FP1, FP2 and then basically stay there for the 3 days of Silverstone. So unfortunately I can't aerodynamically analyze the FP1, FP2 cars because obviously I'll be there, I'll be able to see everything, I'll be able to jot down notes, but there'll be no use because I can't make the video. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to look at the upgrades that we saw at the Austria test, because there were some really nice upgrades at the Austria test, the major one being Force India. That's the one we're going to talk about, and that they're going to be debuting that at the British Grand Prix. Force India basically going with a whole new brand new Spec B car, so that'll be a very big talking point. And then in general we'll just talk about predictions and we'll see how wrong or right I am, even without seeing anything. Literally, the prediction I make in this video will probably be the most wrong one I've made this entire year because I've not seen anything. Obviously this is the day before FP1 and FP2. So let's quickly talk about Force India now. They had a very interesting upgrade on their nose in the Austria test following the Austrian Grand Prix. They debuted a new car, a kind of Spec B car, and a new nose. I'm not sure if they introduced the entire new car at the Austria test or just the front end, but the new entire nose was completely different. You know, even the cascades on the actual left and right, but also the actual nose itself. As you can clearly see, there are two huge slot gaps in the middle of that nose, and people have been calling it like nostrils in the nose. Now these are going to work, well, now these for them, they're hoping will work quite well to get air underneath that car. As you can see where the slot gaps are, they're strategically placed basically. It's fully legal as well. They basically place the holes in an area where the air passes straight through them and goes to those turning vanes right underneath the car. And those turning vanes are very big to aerodynamics underneath the car. They control where the air goes, where it pushes, you know, through toward the back end of the car. So these holes, they're hoping, I mean, obviously they're running it, they're going to be running it for the British Grand Prix. I've been told. I mean, they brought the old front wing to the Silverstone track as well, because we've seen pictures this Thursday of the team setting up their garages, and Force India look like they've got both front wings, so we'll see if they run the new wings, and the hope is that this has worked as a concept, and we'll hopefully get some more airflow underneath that car, and a very interesting one. I mean, it's not like the most prettiest thing in the ever world, but I think it actually looks pretty nice, and you know, it complements the Force India's car actually in a way. And I think on the Force India car at least, I mean, maybe not on other cars, but on this car, that sort of nostril style two holes in on the front end really do actually look quite nice. And if we look closer at the cascades on the Force India front wing, they've changed it quite dramatically in terms of the kind of theory they're going with. Instead of going for what they had originally, which was kind of just one long flat kind of wing coming up on the middle of the wing, and then you have the usual kind of cascades on the left hand side. They've gone for a more, I would say, more like a Red Bull / McLaren style, almost Ferrari Alto style sort of cascade system, where there's an extra few wings coming off the actual main part of the cascades on the edges of the front wing, and they kind of extend off. Instead of getting this wing just going up in the middle, it kind of extends off from the side, and instead they're going to try and get some airflow flowing around there, and that hopefully will maybe affected towards going towards the suspension instead of just like this one kind of turning vane almost sort of wing. Obviously McLaren debuted their new nose at the Austrian Grand Prix for Fernando Alonso only, and it looks like they've confirmed that for the British Grand Prix both McLarens will be running the entire upgraded car. So even any other upgrade I spotted, I missed, I didn't spot or anything like that, they'll be running that on both cars now. Originally in Austria, Alonso only ran the nose because Button had got a priority in China. So now for the British Grand Prix, they're both on level fields, and all the entire upgrades that McLaren have got so far will be installed on that car. So looking ahead to the British Grand Prix, in terms of the weather, it's so far looking good in terms of for the people there and for myself going there. It looks like it's going to be sunny the entire weekend, but there have been a few forecasts here and there for some rain on, you know, either Saturday or Sunday. I don't know, the reports are very wishy-washy, but you never know at Silverstone, you know, you just never know. So the weather's surely going to shake things up, hopefully a little bit. Obviously last year we didn't really get too much of that in the race, but in talking about the race, in fact, obviously it's a very important race for Nico Rosberg. He's 10 points points behind Lewis Hamilton. It'll be crucial for him to try and close up that point gap even more. But obviously, Lewis being at his home Grand Prix, he'll get some extra support, and you know that's a big thing for drivers. So as always, the Mercedes will be very, very strong. Red Bull, I think, you know, they'll be better than they were at Austria, definitely, because they've got a lot more corners to work with at Silverstone, but definitely still they'll be lagging behind on the straights. In terms of Force India, they have said they want to try and catch Red Bull in the constructors, so we'll have to see how, you know, if this is just pure big confidence from Force India, or if they're actually, maybe got some, you know, kind of performance behind their words. In terms of Williams, it looks like Massa's going again for a podium. He said he wants to go for the podium again. We'll have to see, because remember last time out, it was really just due to Ferrari's error on the pit stop, really, if I want to say, that Vettel didn't get third place. I mean, in the end, Vettel couldn't overtake Massa, but that was just the case of the classic Ferrari can't catch up to the Williams Mercedes power, and he just couldn't catch up. But if he stayed ahead of him without that blunder from Ferrari in the pit stops, he could have easily got the podium, I think. So I think it'll be another kind of scrap between Vettel and Massa and Bottas also. And I would say Kimi Raikkonen, but he's been on a very, very down low. He'll be wanting to do better this time. I don't really have high hopes for him this Grand Prix either, though. I think a top 5 would be amazing for Raikkonen, to be honest, to completely be honest. In terms of McLaren, my team, obviously, my support for Jenson Button, I don't know. I think just not having another double DNF, really. I think that'll be an amazing achievement, really, considering we had a double DNF for the last 2 races. But obviously, I'm really hoping that Jenson can actually finish the race, so that'll be a big, big plus. And if he can, you know, have some nice battles, if I can see where I'm sitting from for the race, if I can see some nice battles, that'll be great for me. But yeah, that has been a kind of overview. I know probably a very, very kind of wishy-washy kind of let's talk this time, but it's a one-off because it's not often that I go to the Grand Prix that I'm talking about. So we've done this on Thursday, so my predictions will probably be very wrong, but I'm going to say probably that Lewis Hamilton's just going to bag it, just because I think it's going to be that classic kind of, it's his home Grand Prix, he's going to get the win, so I'm just going to go for that. That's a sort of safe option. Rosberg second, obviously, and I think Vettel will just get a third. I think Massa's going to try very hard for it, and I think you could see Bottas getting very, very high up there, and maybe even fighting with his teammate in Vettel, but I think Vettel will just about get it, in my opinion, and I think you'll have the 2 Williams right behind them, as I said. But I want to know your guys' top 10 predictions. Tell me in the comments below. I'll be reading them on my phone when the video goes live up in Northampton. I'll read them on my phone, but comment below. I may not reply to any of them, but I love reading what your top 10 predictions are as a whole subscriber base. So tell me your top 10 predictions for the Grand Prix. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a like. Comment below what you thought, as I said, ahead of the race. But yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoy the Grand Prix weekend. I know I am, because I'm going to be there personally. So yeah, I've been aarava, home the day, and I'll see you guys next time.